Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut to understanding the big forces shaping your world without all the noise. Before we jump in today, just a quick thing. We're trying to build something really special here. Most people who watch, well, they don't actually subscribe, so please support us. Hit that subscribe button on Trend Media. It honestly makes a huge difference. Okay, so today, we're diving into something that might seem, a bit far away. But trust me, it's about to hit your wallet hard, if it hasn't already. We're talking about the global shipping crisis. It's escalating. And this isn't just like news footage of big ships somewhere else. It's about why the price of basically everything from your groceries to maybe that new car you were thinking about, why those prices are set to jump right here in America. You really need to understand this piece of the puzzle to figure out the economy today.
That's exactly right. And our mission here in this deep dive is really to pull out the absolute key insights. We've gone through a whole stack of sources, including bits from global shipping crisis, American price impact. We want to help you cut through all the complexity, really pinpoint what's driving this, well, unprecedented challenge, and most importantly, make it crystal clear what it actually means for you, for your budget, day to day. It's really not an exaggeration to say this whole situation, it's actively pushing up the cost of, well, almost everything you buy. Daily stuff, big purchases, you name it.
Okay, so let's start unpacking this, the immediate situation, what's happening right now. You said it's intensifying, and that means prices in America are poised to jump.
Significantly.
Yeah, significantly. And you're right, for a lot of people, global shipping is just this sort of background noise, isn't it? Something abstract, far away. But that hum, it's getting louder, it's moving front and center, and it's directly hitting household budgets everywhere. It's really challenging the affordability we've kind of gotten used to.
Right. It's not just academic. Not at all. And it's so important to understand that this isn't just, a few ships stuck here or there. Those headlines grab attention, sure, but they're symptoms. Symptoms of a much deeper systemic disruption. Think of global trade like the body's circulatory system, a huge complex one. And right now, it's got blockages, strains, multiple pressure points all happening at once. It's not localized. You can't just, patch it up quickly. It's a fundamental problem with the arteries of international trade.
Okay. And the direct consequence for us, for the listener.
Well, the direct unavoidable consequence is that almost everything you buy that comes from overseas, it's getting more expensive. Your groceries, so many ingredients or packaging come from abroad. Electronics, smartphones, laptops, TVs, obvious ones. Even cars, new or used, rely on parts shipped globally. The cost of moving stuff has just spiraled. And those costs, they inevitably get passed down, right down to you at the checkout.
So this isn't just some abstract economic number going up.
No.
It's a real tangible challenge to affording, well, almost everything imported. And let's face it, that's a lot of stuff.
A huge amount. Clothes, tech components, everyday items. It really cuts across everything. It's a fundamental economic shift we're living through.
Okay. So let's dig into the why. What's causing this? You mentioned multiple factors.
Exactly. And what's fascinating and frankly concerning is that it's not just one thing. It's like a perfect storm.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of serious problems hitting the global supply chain all at the same time, compounding each other.
A perfect storm. Okay, what are the main ingredients?
Right, let's break them down. First, you've got the Red Sea attacks. These are geopolitical, primarily Houthi rebels targeting ships. This disrupts one of the absolute critical maritime routes, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which feeds right into the Suez Canal.
Which is a major shortcut.
The major shortcut between Asia and Europe, U.S. East Coast. So big shipping lines, think Maersk, MSC, they control a massive chunk of global shipping. They've rerouted hundreds, maybe thousands of vessels by now. Instead of going through the Red Sea and Suez, they're forced to take the long way, around the Cape of Good Hope, southern tip of Africa.
How much longer is that?
It adds typically about 10 to 14 days to the journey.
Wow.
Yeah. And think about fuel. For a big container ship, that pushes fuel consumption up maybe 20, even 30%.
30% just on fuel.
Just on fuel. Plus, it completely throws off schedules. These ships run on tight liner schedules.
Yeah.
When they arrive, when they depart, it's all planned out. This detour scrabbles everything.
So delays and much higher costs right from the start.
Precisely. It shows just how fragile things are. A conflict far away suddenly means your imported goods cost more and take longer to arrive.
And you mentioned the Suez Canal itself. Blockages there, too.
Yes, that's another factor. The Suez Canal blockages. Remember the Ever Given a few years back?
Oh, yeah, that huge ship stuck sideways.
Exactly. That showed how critical and vulnerable that single choke point is. About 12% of global trade goes through there. So any disruption, whether it's an accident like that or just backups caused by ships rerouting from the Red Sea trying to get through, it creates massive bottlenecks.
Log jams.
Huge log jams. Ships waiting means delays, but it also throws off the next part of their schedule. They're out of position for their next pickup. So the ripple effect spreads, port congestion gets worse at the other end, costs go up again.
Okay, Red Sea attacks, Suez blockages. What's next on the list?
Let's talk about something maybe less obvious, but really significant. The Panama Canal drought.
Drought affecting a canal.
Yes, and it really highlights the climate change impact on trade. The Panama Canal uses a system of locks, right, to lift ships up and down.
Using fresh water.
Exactly. That water comes from Gatun Lake, a huge artificial lake. But there's been a severe, prolonged drought in that region, made worse by El Niño patterns. So the lake's water level is way down.
And that means?
It means the Canal Authority has had to restrict things. Two main things. The draft of ships, that's how deep they sit in the water, and the number of ships allowed through each day.
So bigger ships have problems.
Big problems. Especially the newer, larger ships designed for the expanded canal. They either can't go through fully loaded, or they face incredibly long waits for fewer slots.
What do they do instead?
They have to divert. Either the really long way around South America, Cape Horn, or sometimes they do what's called lightering, offloading some cargo onto smaller ships or land transport just to get the main ship through the canal.
Both sound expensive and slow.
Extremely. It adds significant cost and delay, especially for goods moving between Asia and the U.S. East Coast, which heavily relies on the Panama Canal. It's a stark reminder of how climate change can hit global trade directly.
Okay, so we have geopolitical issues, choke point issues, climate issues. Anything else?
Oh, yes. We definitely have to talk about labor strikes.
Right, at the ports themselves.
Exactly. At key ports, rail hubs, trucking depots, think dock workers, truck drivers, rail workers. When they have disputes or go on strike, things can grind to a halt. We've seen major disruptions recently. U.S. West Coast ports, Canada, Europe.
And the impact.
Immediate backlogs. Ships stuck waiting offshore. Containers piling up on the docks, can't be moved. Goods stuck in transit for weeks sometimes.
And that doesn't just clear up instantly when the strike ends, I imagine.
Not at all. It creates a domino effect. It can take weeks, even months, to clear the backlog and get schedules back on track. It just adds another layer of delay and costs things like storage fees, demurrage charges for containers sitting too long.
It really is a multitude of factors. Is that it, or is there more?
There's one more big piece which is sort of underlying a lot of this.
Yeah.
A persistent shortage of ships and containers.
Wait, still, I thought that was more of a pandemic thing.
It started then, but the effects linger, and it's morphed a bit. Yes, during the pandemic, demand for goods shot up, while container production and shipbuilding lagged, created a real scarcity. But the insight now isn't just fewer containers overall. It's a massive misplacement problem.
Misplacement? How so?
Millions of empty containers are stuck in the wrong places. Think about it. Imports surged into places like the U.S. and Europe. But exports didn't always match up, or there weren't enough truck drivers or chassis to move the empty containers back to the ports quickly. Meanwhile, factories in Asia are desperate for those empty boxes to ship out new goods.
So the boxes are physically there, just not where they need to be.
Exactly. It's a huge inefficiency.
Yeah.
Ships might sail partly empty because they can't get enough loaded containers, or they take extra time detouring just to pick up empties. And this scarcity, both of ships and properly positioned containers, dries up prices. It used to be shipping lines competed for cargo. Now, cargo owners are fighting for space. It's flipped the whole dynamic.
Wow. Okay, so Red Sea attacks, Suez issues, Panama drought, labor strikes, and this ongoing ship and container imbalance.
All hitting at once.
It's not just one wrench in the works. It's like the whole toolbox got thrown in. And every single one of those problems, it means delays and higher costs for stuff getting to us here in America.
That's the direct line. From these global complexities straight to the price tags you see, the checkout lines you're in. Yeah. And what's so crucial to grasp is how all these different kinds of issues, geopolitical, environmental, labor, structural, are converging. It creates this uniquely difficult, complex crisis. It's not just an economic slowdown, it's a physical PUSH on the system. It's really stress testing the entire model of globalized production and trade.
Okay, let's bring that home. Let's talk about the direct impact on the American consumer. You've touched on it, but let's spell it out.
Right, let's bring it right into your living room, your kitchen. The bottom line, the direct financial hit on you, the listener, it's unavoidable. If you buy imported goods, you're paying more, period.
Yeah.
And this isn't just, luxury stuff. It's across the board. Basics. Think about your groceries. So much of what's in the supermarket, ingredients or packaging, has an import component.
Clothes.
Clothes, absolutely. The vast majority made overseas, electronics, phones, laptops, TVs, appliances, heavily reliant on global parts and assembly.
Even big things like cars.
Even big-ticket items like cars. New cars, definitely, with parts from everywhere. But even used car prices can be affected. As the supply of new cars tightens and costs go up, those rising shipping costs just ripple through everything.
And you said earlier, it's not just the price, it's also about actually getting the stuff.
Exactly. That's a huge part of the impact. It's not just sticker shock. It's those frustrating empty shelves you see sometimes, or those incredibly long waits for things you've ordered.
Yeah, waiting months for something you need now.
Right. Imagine needing a new washing machine and being told it's a 3 or 4 month wait, or saving up for a specific gadget, only to find it's out of stock indefinitely.
That happened to a listener, didn't it? You mentioned examples earlier.
Yes, we should absolutely talk about those real-world stories.
Yeah.
They make it so much clearer than just the abstract numbers.
Okay, let's hear them. They really ground the issue.
Definitely. So that empty shelf, that long wait, it's not just an inconvenience. It disrupts your life. You have to adapt, find temporary fixes, maybe delay essential things for your home or family.
It affects planning, too, like trying to furnish a new place or even just getting gifts for holidays or birthdays. The old assumption that anything is just a click or a short drive away, that's being seriously challenged.
It really is. We're being forced back into, well, needing more patience, more planning ahead.
Which leads to that question you raised. How dependent have we become?
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How deeply dependent the American consumer and our whole economy is on these incredibly complex and now clearly quite fragile global supply chains. For decades, the mantra was efficiency, lowest cost. Source it from wherever it's cheapest, even halfway around the world.
Just in time.
Just in time, exactly. This crisis just rips the cover off the vulnerability in that model. That hyper-efficiency looks great on paper until it breaks. Now we're seeing the potential cost of that interconnectedness. Maybe we didn't fully account for the risk before. It forces a big reevaluation, maybe even questions about globalization itself, or at least the way we've done it.
Okay, let's talk about those real-world examples you mentioned, stories from people actually dealing with this.
Right, because these stories really hit home. They show it's not just statistics.
So tell us about the listener in California with the fridge.
Yeah, this one really stuck with me. A listener in California needed a new refrigerator. Pretty essential household item, right?
Absolutely.
They ordered one, and it took 4 months to arrive.
4 months without a fridge. How do you even manage that?
Imagine. It completely disrupts daily life. Storing food, cooking meals, grocery shopping. You're using coolers, making constant small trips to the store, maybe eating out way more often. For a family, it's a huge planning headache, impacts the budget, impacts healthy eating.
Then the stress of it all.
Immense stress. And while the delay itself isn't a direct shipping cost you pay, it often forces you to pay more for whatever limited alternatives are available quickly, or just accept a major disruption to your life. It's a hidden cost of this crisis.
Okay, what about the business owner in Texas?
Right. This story shows the other side, the impact on businesses, especially smaller ones. A business owner in Texas imports materials for their company. They told us their shipping costs literally doubled in 1 year.
Doubled. How does a small business even absorb that?
That's the thing. Often they can't. Doubling a major input cost like shipping. For a small business with tight margins, it's potentially devastating. They face a terrible choice. Absorb the cost, which could wipe out their profit, maybe even threaten the business itself.
Or pass it on to customers.
Or pass it on, which means higher prices for you and me. It directly fuels that inflation we're talking about at the local level. Or if they try to absorb it, it means less money to reinvest, to hire people, to grow. It hurts the local economy either way.
And you had one more example. The bookstore.
Yeah, the small bookstore owner in Portland. She orders a lot of unique editions, specialty books, often from overseas publishers. Her shipping quotes up 150% compared to 2 years ago. And that's not all.
What else?
Delivery times. A big shipment of a really anticipated new memoir. The estimate slipped from the usual 4 or 6 weeks to potentially 3 or 4 months.
Oh, no. So she missed the launch buzz.
Completely missed the initial wave of demand, lost pre-orders. Customers likely went to big online guys who could afford faster, maybe air freight options. So her shelves looked bare, her cash flow took a hit, and it made it harder for her to compete. It's tough out there for small retailers facing this.
These stories, They really paint a picture. It's not just happening at the coasts, is it?
No, absolutely not. That's the key takeaway from these examples. This is happening everywhere. Big cities, small towns, different industries. Because almost everything eventually touches these global supply chains, whether it's a finished product or just a component inside something made locally. It shows how these big global issues become very real, very personal problems for individuals, families, businesses right across the country.
Okay, so it's hitting us hard here, but you mentioned this is global. How wide is this spread?
It's truly global. We're focusing on the U.S. impact, obviously, but it's crucial to understand this isn't happening in a vacuum. Europe, Asia, Africa, everyone who relies on international trade is feeling this. The same port congestion, the same container shortages, the same route disruptions, they're causing headaches and higher costs worldwide. German factories waiting for parts, Nigerian consumers waiting for goods. It's a shared challenge.
And what does that global pressure mean specifically for the U.S. economy going forward? You mentioned inflation possibly spiking again.
Yes, that's the big connection back to us. Because these costs are high everywhere, it means the imported goods coming into the U.S. remain expensive to transport.
Right.
So that sustained high cost of moving things, it keeps pushing prices up here. It means inflation, which we've all been dealing with, could spike again, or at least stay stubbornly high, potentially well into 2025.
So it's not just a quick price adjustment that fades away.
No, it's looking more like sustained pressure. This is mostly cost-push inflation. The fundamental cost of getting goods to market is higher, regardless of consumer demand. So even if other things cool down or interest rates go up, this shipping piece alone could keep overall inflation elevated for quite a while. It hits our purchasing power, our standard of living.
And how long are we talking? You said experts think this could last.
Well, into next year is the general consensus, and potentially beyond that.
So no quick fix.
Definitely not a quick fix. We're looking at a prolonged period of this disruption. It's not a blip. It's more like a marathon we're in.
And what does that mean for the bigger picture? You said it signals a shift.
I think it does. If we step back, this prolonged crisis, it might be more than just a disruption. It could be forcing a fundamental shift in global trade dynamics, maybe even a new normal. Think about it. The old model was just in time, super efficient, minimal inventory.
But fragile.
Exactly. Now, businesses are seriously rethinking that. Maybe moving towards just in case, holding more inventory, building buffers, even if it costs more. We might also see more reshoring or nearshoring. Companies deciding it's worth paying a bit more to produce things closer to home for more reliability.
So prioritizing resilience over just the absolute lowest cost.
That seems to be the direction things could head. This crisis isn't just about logistics. It could be fundamentally reshaping where things are made, how they're distributed, which could mean structurally higher costs long term, but maybe more stable supply chains. It's a massive potential transformation.
Okay, this is a lot to take in. It feels kind of overwhelming. What can people actually do? What are the practical steps for you, the listener, facing this?
Right. It's easy to feel powerless against these huge global forces.
Yeah.
But there are things you can do. It's about being proactive, making informed choices.
So what's step one?
Step one, and probably the most impactful, shop early.
Especially for big things or holidays.
Exactly. Anything significant. You'll need appliances, furniture, specific electronics, and definitely for holiday gifts, birthdays, anything time sensitive. Don't wait until the last minute. These delays mean lead times can be months now for some items. Planning ahead gives you a buffer, reduces stress, and makes it more likely you'll get what you need, maybe even at a better price before scarcity kicks in harder.
Okay, shop early. What else?
Second, actively look for American-made products.
To bypass the international shipping issues.
Precisely. If something is made and sourced here, it avoids the Red Sea risks, the Panama Canal drought issues, the overseas port problems. It might not always be possible, or maybe it costs a bit more sometimes. But choosing domestic goods when you can directly avoids those specific global bottlenecks. Plus, it supports local industries, local jobs, kind of a win-win. There are labels and websites that help identify them.
Good point. What's number 3?
Number 3 is always good advice, but critical now. Watch your budget very carefully.
Because prices are rising unpredictably.
Yes. Be really aware of how prices are changing, especially for imported goods or categories heavily reliant on them. This might mean adjusting spending habits, maybe looking for alternatives, maybe cutting back elsewhere. Just being really conscious and deliberate about where your money is going in this higher cost environment is key.
Makes sense. And the 4th point?
Fourth, stay informed. Things are changing fast. Keep an eye on the news about the shipping situation, port congestion, maybe even specific product availability forecasts from retailers you use. Being aware helps you anticipate potential issues, adjust your plans, maybe make a purchase sooner rather than later if you see signs of trouble for a specific item. Knowledge gives you power to navigate this better.
Okay, shop early, buy American where possible, watch the budget, stay informed. That's solid advice.
And there's one crucial don't, a really important warning.
What's that?
Don't panic buy.
Like hoarding toilet paper back in 2020.
Exactly that kind of thing. It's a natural reaction, maybe feeling urgency when you hear about shortages or price hikes. But panic buying, it just makes everything worse. For everyone, it creates artificial scarcity, drives prices up even faster, and puts massive, unnecessary strain on the system. It can leave other people without essential things.
So rational purchasing helps everyone.
It really does.
Yeah.
It helps maintain some stability and ensures things are distributed more fairly. It's kind of a collective responsibility in times like these.
Okay, so we know the causes, the impacts, what we can do now. But the million-dollar question remains, is this actually going to get better anytime soon? Are we seeing light at the end of the tunnel?
Honestly, the realistic answer is probably not. Not likely, at least not quickly.
Really? It's going to stay this bad?
The outlook suggests this challenging environment is going to persist for the foreseeable future. There's just no easy fix on the horizon.
Why not? What's stopping it from improving?
Because the root causes we talked about, they're still very much active. And they're complex. As long as you have geopolitical conflicts messing with shipping lanes, as long as climate change keeps causing things like droughts that impact canals, as long as labor issues keep popping up at key ports, as long as those things persist, the shipping world stays challenged, stays unpredictable, stays expensive. These aren't simple problems with simple solutions.
So we need to adjust to the idea that shipping is just going to be expensive and slow for a while.
I think that's the reality we need to face, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Expensive and slow. It's not just a temporary spike. It feels more like a sustained period of disruption. Maybe even, like we said, a fundamental shift. Businesses, consumers,
Yeah.
we all need to adapt to this new normal. We're moving goods across oceans quickly, predictably, and cheaply. We just can't take that for granted anymore.
Which means continued pressure on prices, longer waits.
Continued pressure on prices, less predictable delivery times, yeah. A constant need for being vigilant, being adaptable. It's not just going to snap back to how it was before 2020.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Let's tackle some specific questions listeners often have about this.
Good idea. Let's get practical.
First one, always relevant as we head towards the end of the year. Will this affect holiday shopping? People planning gifts, family gatherings?
Yes. Simple answer.
Yes.
Definitely.
So the advice is still
Shop early. Really early. Like, start thinking about it now, especially for popular items. Some gifts might be hard to find, or they could cost significantly more by the time the holidays actually roll around. Because of these shipping issues, the stuff for the holidays has to be moving through the supply chain months in advance. Any disruption now hits holiday availability and price. So getting ahead of it is the best strategy. Avoid the last-minute stress and potentially higher costs.
makes sense. Okay, next question. This one's from an investment angle. We hear shipping companies might be making huge profits, so is it a good time to invest in them?
Yeah, you hear that? And it's true, some of the big players, the container lines especially, they are posting record profits. Demand is high, capacity is tight, so they can charge very high rates.
So, sounds like a good bet.
Well, hold on. It's not that simple for an individual investor. Yes, they're profitable now, but the shipping industry is famously cyclical. Very volatile. What goes up can come down to lots of factors. New ships are being built. That can increase capacity later. Trade policies can change. Fuel prices fluctuate wildly. And the very conflicts and climate issues causing this crisis add huge uncertainty.
So, not a guaranteed win.
Definitely not guaranteed. While some companies are doing well, you absolutely need to do your homework. Deep research. Understand the specific company, its finances, its routes, its long-term prospects. Don't just jump in because you heard profits are high right now. Past performance, especially in a crazy situation like this, doesn't predict the future. Be careful.
Good caution. Okay, one more practical one. Beyond shopping early, what else can I personally do to kind of lessen the impact of these rising costs on my life?
That's a great question. Thinking about resilience. Well, beyond shopping early and considering American-made, think local. Explore local alternatives more. Farmers markets for food, local artisans for gifts or home goods, community swap events. These reduce reliance on long global chains.
And maybe fixing things?
Yes. Embrace repair. Instead of instantly replacing something that breaks, see if it can be fixed. extends the life of your stuff, reduces demand for new imports. And finally, be flexible. Brand loyalty is one thing, but if your usual brand is unavailable or the price has shot up, be open to trying alternatives, maybe a domestic brand or just one that seems to have a more stable supply right now. It's about adapting your habits.
Adaptability seems to be the key word here.
It really is.
Okay, let's try to wrap this up. To summarize our deep dive today, this global shipping crisis. It's real, it's complex, multiple causes piling up conflicts, climate, labor, capacity issues, and critically, it's hitting us Americans right at home. Prices are going up, shelves are sometimes empty, and it looks like this isn't ending tomorrow. It's a major challenge we need to navigate.
Absolutely. It demands our attention, our adaptability, and definitely some careful planning, as we've discussed.
Yeah.
And maybe, as a final thought to leave people with, consider this. These ongoing disruptions, maybe they aren't just a phase we push through to get back to the old normal. Maybe this is actually the catalyst, the thing that forces a fundamental long-term reshaping of how goods are made, how they're moved, how we consume them globally. Will we see that permanent shift to more local production, more focus on resilience over rock-bottom cost, maybe even a change in our expectations about having everything available instantly? That's the bigger question. This crisis really forces us to think about, what does the future of global trade actually look like after this?
That's a powerful thought to end on. Thank you for breaking all that down for us. And thank you, our listeners, for joining us on the deep dive. If you found this useful, and we hope you did, please hit that subscribe button for Trend Media. Seriously, most viewers don't, and your support truly keeps these deep dives going. We really appreciate it. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep making those smart choices.